Right, the dust has now settled on yesterday's game. Man City won, Chelsea won. It is only a draw. It's a draw for the second time this season against Pep Guardiola's men. But I'll tell you one thing, it is a draw that, in my opinion, feels very much like a win. So let's just treat it that way, as if it is a win, really, and let's celebrate. I said that I would be giving you a lot of players' ratings video, and when I make a promise, I keep that promise. So here are my player ratings off the back of yesterday's 1-1 win at the Etihad versus City. But people, before we get into all that, welcome back to the Joey Knight podcast. If you are new around here, at the end of the video, if you like the content and you want to see more from myself, please hit the subscribe button. Also, this second right now, please do me a massive favour, hit the like button on this video. I know I always ask you, but it does really help out the videos. It helps pump it out there. Anyway, enough talking. Well, no, there's plenty more talking to come, but let's get into the player ratings. Right, let's start off with the main man in between the sticks, and that is Petrovic. Now listen, I said yesterday, didn't I, that Nicholas Jackson could well be in the top 3 Bowley signings, and I obviously listed them out, and I gave Melo Gusto, Cole Palmer, and Nicholas Jackson the shouts. A lot of people pulled me up in the comments, rightly so, thank you very much. Where was Petrovic in there? Because I'll tell you what, Petrovic is knocking on the door for top 3 signings. And I tell you what, come the end of the season, maybe Petrovic has elevated himself higher than even Nicholas Jackson has, because Petrovic came in for hardly any money, let's be honest. And I tell you what, since coming into the team, I've just fallen in love with the boy. I absolutely love Petrovic. Really good. Really good again yesterday, you know. This will be the biggest game he's ever played in. Definitely, obviously, the biggest game he's played in since coming in and becoming a first-team player in Mauricio Pochettino's plans after the Robert Sanchez injury. And another good showing from Petrovic, man. Made some really good saves. Had to have massively higher concentration levels. When you're coming up against City's attack, listen, it's no easy game, is it? Against any team in the Premier League, but against City's, you've got to be so switched on, so concentrated. Couple of maybe shaky moments from like set pieces and that, and maybe that's why I wouldn't score him higher. Don't think he could have done anything about the goal. It took that deflection, you know. He made some key saves from Haaland as well. And, you know, look, I'm going to say this about some of the defenders, but if you're in a game against Man City and Haaland don't score, then I reckon as a goalkeeper, you've done saying it right. So, 7 out of 10 for Petrovic. Very good. Let's move on to the back line. Melo Gusto, 8 out of 10. This boy is just pure class, isn't it? And let's just spare a thought for Jeremy Doku. You know, he comes into Man City, scoring goals for fun at the start, you know, then he comes up against the big dog, Reece James, yeah? And Reece James has Doku absolutely in his pocket at Stamford Bridge in the reverse fixture. So when Doku's looking at this match and he's thinking, brilliant, the captain's out, the talisman's out, their number 1 right back is out, let me run riot at the Etihad. No, sorry, Jeremy, our backup right back is just as good. And I'll tell you what on earth do we do when Reece James comes back? Like, what do we do when Reece James comes back? Because I'm going to completely contradict myself here. For me, Reece James can't not be in our team. But we can't drop Melo Gusto, so what do we do? I honestly don't know, man. I know this is going to sound really simplistic and the football boffins are getting annoyed at me and say, where are you getting this from? But I've said it time and time again, man. Maybe Reece James needs a move to midfield. He played midfield for Wigan. And, you know, we're about the same level as Wigan, aren't we? He played midfield for Wigan, man. He was very good there. You look at his physical attributes. Also, you look at the fact that he's injured 24/7 and maybe he'd have less wear and tear in that area of the pitch. Who knows? Who knows? I do think Reece James, if fit, is a generational talent that can play anywhere. But at the moment, I'm going to find it so hard to drop Melo Gusto out of this lineup. Let's move on to the man next to him, Axel Disasi. He gets a 9 out of 10 because this fella was absolutely everywhere yesterday, throwing his body on the line in front of shots, heading balls left, right and centre out of the box. And he's really leveled up, man. He's putting his body on the lines, I say, showing leadership qualities, which for me, especially when it comes to building this young team going forward, to have a player in that back line who's not only leading by example in their performance, but also showing the organisation. You know, we see him shouting at players, getting players into position and whatnot. Leading by example, as I do say, yeah, man, Disasi's really starting to become one of our most pivotal players. And I think when you're going on about centre-backs at the moment, he's the first choice. First name on the team sheet. He's played his way into that position big up to Axel Disasi by doing so. Really, really pleased by him. The man next to him, right, his contribution's going to go a little bit more unnoticed because of how good Axel Disasi was. But Levi Cohen, man, he's right up there. He's got to be an 8 out of 10 as well. You know, he was put up against Haaland, and when Haaland doesn't score in a match, as I say, you've done something right there, you know. And I think that this game just cements my stance even more firm that I never want to see Levi Colwell over in that left-back position. So in the summer, if Ian Maatsen gets moved on, keep hold of Cucurella and keep hold of Ben Chilwell. And if you move one of them on, sign another left-back. Do not put Levi Colwell back over there. Look how good he was against Arsenal at Stamford Bridge. Look how good he was yesterday at the Etihad. He is a left centre-back. And when you match up a left centre-back up against that front line and they keep him as quiet as we did for the most part, or at least stop him from scoring, you've just got to look at the performance of Levi Colwell there and go, yeah, you're definitely our future at centre-back, not at left-back. Let's move on to the man who did play at left-back, Ben Chilwell. I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10. So one of my lower ratings so far, but nothing massively wrong with Ben Chilwell's performance. On the whole, if you're part of a backline that only concedes one at the Etihad and realistically deserve to maybe keep a clean sheet in how good they all were, you've got to come away with your head held high. Although there were a few moments when I feel like Ben Chilwell got the ball, considering it was a counter-attacking game for us, the breaks and the counter-attacks being all that much more important than in a usual match, and you need that delivery, you need that you know, the distribution from Ben Chilwell straight away to be on point, and a couple of times it wasn't. So that's why I put him down at a 7. But listen, if 5 out of 10's bang average, 6 is good, 7's very good, he'd be all right with that. What I would like to know is Ben Chilwell anywhere near as capable and as good as we saw him in the past in a back four? Because we can't deny we saw the best of Ben Chilwell in a back three as a sort of bombing on wing back, as did we with Reece James. Is Ben Chilwell as good in a back four? I can't remember him ever playing in a back four for Chelsea, really. Champions League final. But yeah, you know, is he as good in a back four? Where did he play for? Was Leicester a back four? I can't remember. God knows. But yeah, Ben Chilwell, 7 out of 10. Not too bad. Another man that gets 7 out of 10 for me will be Moses Caicedo. Nothing amazing. Nothing bad. Nothing bad. He could have been sent off a few times, couldn't he? Multiple bookings. But listen, yeah, let's not get bogged down in the detail. Good match. Part of a good midfield. Part of a good team. And he's a good lad. 7 out of 10 for Caicedo. Enzo Fernandez, 8 out of 10. He kept the game ticking over nicely. Tried to be as forward-thinking, as creative as possible. Actually sort of defied my expectations quite a few times when he managed to wriggle out of tight spaces, or at least distribute the ball out of tight spaces, because a few times this season, a lot of times this season, I've seen Chelsea giving away the ball in positions that they just didn't need to be giving away the ball, and it really pissed me off, to be honest. So Enzo Fernandez not doing that up against one of the best midfields in world football was very impressive. I said it, a few people laughed at me, you know, when I've said before, like, Enzo is a player that, yeah, in this Chelsea team, when things aren't going well for us and we need to pull our sleeves up and really fight, he's been shown wanting a couple of times, but I've always said that he could fit right into a Man City midfield, a Real Madrid midfield. I think the class is there for everyone to see, you know. I was a little bit nervous at times that we have made one of these tournament signings. You know, you look at the past, El Hadj Diouf, he was signed off the back of a tournament. James Rodriguez, obviously, and, you know, he weren't a bad player. A lot of players were signed off the back of really, really good tournaments and then didn't push on, you know. And I was a little bit worried at times. Enzo Fernandez is the future. He is going to be a great player. Yeah, really good. I'll tell you one man who I've put him down as an 8 out of 10, Conor Gallagher. 8 out of 10. It could be higher. It could. I thought Conor Gallagher was amazing in this game. Really, really good. Just shows exactly why he is Pochettino's go-to man. Of course he's Pochettino's go-to man, because he is the bollocks, man. Conor Gallagher is so good. He is so good. And they stuck him on Rodri, and Rodri didn't really do much, did he? And it's ironic. I get it. He scored the goal. But at the end of the day, if you actually look, I think that's when Conor Gallagher had been sort of told to push forward ever so slightly. But he kept Rodri really, really quiet. Not many midfielders have I seen keep Rodri that quiet ever. And just in sort of limiting Rodri's all-round contribution to the game. So really, really impressed by Conor Gallagher once again. Cole Palmer, I'm giving him a 7 out of 10. Last 2 games for Cole Palmer, little bit quieter, maybe, but maybe not a little bit quieter, still just as good, still, you know, really, really good, but at the same time, just maybe other players are now stepping up to the plate a little bit more, and the sort of burden of going and winning games and pulling us out of trouble is lessened on Cole Palmer's shoulders a little bit, and that can only be a good thing. So 7 out of 10, nothing amazing, nothing bad, kept us ticking over nicely, definitely deserved of a place in the starting 11 for the League Cup final, which we will touch on. Nicholas Jackson. I've had mixed reports since I posted a bit about Jackson yesterday. I am going to give him a 7.5 out of 10. And it would be an 8 out of 10 if he hadn't missed that fucking sitter. But he did miss the sitter. So can I give someone who missed a sitter, bearing in mind, knowing the way that the game went, that could have been the thing that won us the game, can I give him too high well, I can do what I want. It's my channel. So fuck it. Let's give him an 8. Nah, let's give him a 7.5. I think that's fair. 7.5 out of 10. Mate, Nicholas Jackson, I was really impressed by his contribution yesterday, and I think that we need to harness our expectations of what we think of him. You know, there's certain players, like, we wouldn't go to, you know, if James Milner, for example, never makes runs where he takes 3-4 men out the game, flip-flap, round the keeper, side foots it in, we don't go, oh, he never does that, because we don't expect that of him. And I think that Nicholas Jackson's goal record in the second half of the La Liga season last year, and then the fact that he was brought in and played in that number 9 slot, makes us expect goals of him. Maybe he'll be more of a Giroud-style player. Maybe he won't be our constant source of goal threat. Saying that, he'd probably finish the season with more goals than Højlund, I'd imagine. Saying that, he's picking up a bit of form, but he'll finish double digits, all right numbers, you know, goals and assists, he'll do well. Is he going to be the man to lead our line? Is he going to be the man to keep a Victor Osimhen out the team if we were to manage to sign him? No, I don't think he was. But I tell you what, as time goes on, I'm getting a better backlog of what I need to look at when it comes to his performances and his game. I'm starting to realise that Nicholas Jackson is a very important part of this Chelsea side as it stands at the moment. And I'm happy with him, man. I missed him when he went to the African Cup of Nations. I thought he was very good yesterday. Raheem Sterling, I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10. Is that harsh? Tell me in the comment section below. Is that harsh? I didn't initially think that Raheem Sterling should have been in the starting lineup, and then that was quashed pretty quickly when obviously he scored the goal. He should have scored one before. Maybe he should have had a couple on the day. Was nowhere near as good as he was at the bridge, coming up against Kyle Walker, but at the same time, still pretty good. Still good. I think Pochettino, I might be nicking this actually from Yannick. I'm pretty sure he said this. I watched his post-match review. I'm sure you guys follow Yannick, Football Therapy, very, very good Chelsea creator. But he sort of said, I think it was him that said it, him or George, I've watched both of them guys, but one of them said that Pochettino picked Sterling on vibes yesterday, and I'd agree with him. I think he did pick Sterling on vibes, to be honest, because it's not like Sterling's done anything recently to warrant a start in the biggest game of the season against the toughest opposition we're going to face. But Poch was right to pick him, man. He scored the goal. He proved pivotal for us in a vital moment. Listen, did he give away the ball a few times? Did he make the wrong choices a few times? Yes, he did. But that's Sterling. And again, when it comes back to managing expectations of what we expect from these players, that is what Sterling does from time to time. So I'm not massively riled up about Sterling's inclusion. I thought he was good. I think there's a big question over, does he start in the League Cup final? Because that's a tricky one, you know, because for me, I look at it and I'm like, Nkunku should be on, man. I feel like Nkunku gives us more. Not that he was great yesterday, but I feel like Nkunku gives us more. But will Pochettino go, well, look, you've just scored in that last match. I need to have you in there. If Pochettino doesn't start Sterling and he starts Nkunku instead, I think that's very, very bold from Pochettino, and it would be commendable because I think it would be the right decision off the back of him scoring yesterday. A lot of you might disagree with me. If you do disagree with me, don't just call me a wanker. Tell me why you disagree with me, and I'll be very interested to read that. Let's look at the subs. Nkunku, 5 out of 10, didn't really get into the game. Didn't really do anything. Chalobah, 5 out of 10. Very harsh to give him any lower than that. And listen, Chalobah weren't bad. How can you come on for your first minutes of the season in terms of, you know, has he played this season? No, pre-season he was injured. Yeah, first minutes of the season in the toughest game and at the toughest point of that game. Gets a deflection on the shot. Would Petrovic have got to it without his touch? I think he probably would have done. So, you know, you got to mark Chalobah down on that one. But at the same time as doing that, I'm understanding that's very, very harsh because he didn't do nothing wrong. If you don't get in the way of it and it goes in and they slow-mo it back, you're going to go, Chalobah, man, stick your body on the line there. So, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Cassidy, he wasn't on long enough for me to give him a rating. Let's go Pochettino. 8 out of 10 I'm giving Poch. I think that Poch set up the team well. As I say, the only question mark for me was Sterling over Nkunku. That was quashed straight away. The subs can be looked at negatively in terms of like, you took your goal scorer off. You know, who did Sterling come off for? Nkunku, and he didn't really do anything. You took your highest sort of contributor when it comes to goals and assists this season in Cole Palmer off to put a defender on. But when you deep it and you look into it, well, yeah, someone needed to come off to put an extra defender on, because at that point, I was saying Pochettino at half-time should have said park the bus and limit to counter-attacks. So if in the 60th minute or something, you take off Cole Palmer and you stick Chalobah on, I think that's a good sub. Don't look at the personnel, look at the positions. You've subbed a centre-back on, a versatile centre-back, all that, you know, said in his first minutes of the season, for a brilliant player who's offensively better. But when we're looking at, you know, we're not looking at breaking down teams and being creative to do it in, you know, pin-locking tight defences. We're looking at Man City and they're, you know, they're pushing so far forward that our chances are on the counter-attack. If we're limited to counter-attacks, I think if you've got Gusto, Nkunku, Gallagher, Jackson on the pitch, you know, look, no one doesn't need Cole Palmer, but what I'm saying is it wasn't criminal for him to take Cole Palmer off yesterday. Cassidy came on to add height and presence, you know, especially during a late onslaught. Poch can be pretty proud of his work in the dugout there. Do you know what? I was sort of thinking this, yeah? You know, like, if you're going on the performances you've had so far, yeah, is Pochettino like a casual football fan? This sounds really bad. Let me explain, right? Casual boxing fans. I know boxing fans who can break down an Anthony Joshua or a Tyson Fury fight really analytically well. But if I ask them about the undercard, they ain't got a fucking clue about anyone on there because they're casual boxing fans. And when you look at Pochettino this season, yeah, I mean, mate, look, like, alright, Liverpool thumped us. Fucking so did Man United and so did Newcastle. But let's look at him in both the City games. You know, coming up against Pep and tactically not getting schooled. You know, potentially some might argue getting the better of Pep when you talk about the talent that he's got at his disposal compared to us. Coming up against Arteta, tactically probably getting the better against him. Unai Emery, you know, other managers in there. I think, like, it's almost like when Pochettino's left the Premier League, he still kept an eye on the big teams, the big games. He watches the big game highlights, but he don't watch the other ones. So now he's coming back. He's licking his lips. He's ready to go to mental warfare and tactical warfare with the big boys. But against the smaller ones, a little bit lackluster at times. And that's where we've been picking up losses and not getting wins on the board. But who knows? Who knows, man? I think we need to build on this. I think this is really good. Liverpool now, Sunday, in that League Cup final. I'm going into it confident, a lot more momentum, a lot more confidence than I could have. Does that mean I think we're going to turn Liverpool over? No. Do I think that we're definitely going to put in a better performance than what we saw a couple of weeks ago at Anfield in the 4-1 loss? Yes. When I look at Liverpool, you know, we're looking at them. Alisson, Curtis Jones, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Szoboszlai, Jota, they're all out for the final, or more than likely. Does that give us an edge? Well, you know, I mean, we got Reece James, Badiashile, Lavia, Chukwuemeka, Thiago Silva. Look, we've got so many players out, man, that it probably doesn't give us an edge. But I tell you what, it doesn't hurt, does it? A little bit more of an even level playing field, you know? So, listen, I tell you what, it makes it a lot more fucking interesting next weekend, doesn't it? And I'll tell you one thing, it's going to be interesting because myself and the big dog, Josh Aveste, will be live on this channel for the League Cup final. So come and join us, watch along with us. We'll be in the chat, we'll be answering many people as you can. Super chats, obviously, we'll prioritise, but we'll be answering as many as we possibly can. Watch us, watch the game. Listen, I've got a good feeling about it, man. Let me know what you want through the week from this channel. Me and Josh will get in the studio. We'll record a Liverpool preview, a few little bits and pieces, and then obviously the big ones on Sunday, man. Chelsea against Liverpool, League Cup final. If we can win that League Cup final, I don't care if we finish 10th, 11th, 12th. If we get silverware there, I'll finish this season happy, and you'll have you definitely have my backing with Pochettino's job until the end of the season if we can win that League Cup final. People, what do you think? Are we going to do it? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Thanks for joining me for another video. I will see you all in the next one.